what got me through that incident was that I was able to find gratitude the day that it happened. This is how far the truck was from killing all three of my children in that accident. And it's not lucky it only took one. That's not the way that I look at it. Look at it as I'm grateful it didn't take all three.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and you're listening and watching the Rhymes with Odd podcast. Today, we're hopping in the booth with another amazing guest. We got Gabe Moore in the house. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Gabe is a business coach in the area and somebody that was connected to us from Aaron Anderson from Fresh Fit Meals. So shout out to Aaron.
Fresh Fit. Fuffum.
There you go. There you go. So really excited to jump in and talk with you. So you're a business coach. We'll talk more about kind of your story and journey and things. But for people that are just tuning in, I would say with a chat, if you had a chatty Uber driver in like a 30-minute drive and they say, so man, what do you do? Or who are you? What do you do? What do you typically tell somebody?
I would say that I am the owner and founder of Action Coach Vanguard Business Coaching in Kinney, Iowa. We serve most of Des Moines. And honestly, Ames, Des Moines, Polk City, all those areas. And we help small business owners achieve prosperity through teaching them about time, team, and money. And we have a 6 steps process that we walk all of our clients through, and we coach them along the way. And our relationships are typically between 5 and 7 years. And what we want for them is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without them. And so that's what we do.
Sure. I love it. Well, if that doesn't work out, I think you might have a future in voice acting because you got a great radio voice. This would be great. If you want
That's great.
If we need some voiceover, I might have you come in and help us out. I think
that's awesome.
I think this could be a really fun conversation because there's so much, that people that are, when they're starting a business, a lot of people wing it, right? There's a lot of people that are just, most people in business.
Bootstrappers unite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just for myself, like I went to college for business, but my wife who started a business, she didn't. She went for hair and she wanted to start her own independent hair business. So now she's doing that. It's like, you think of anybody that's like a plumber or a person that is a tech or a technician that wants to start their own thing. They probably don't know how to start a thriving business or how to manage cash flow or employees or how to do taxes. Like,
they know how to do a job.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's it's definitely a needed service, but I think something that especially the listeners of the show will benefit from is like if they're in a small business, like how do they get more lean, more technical, more intentional? So I think there will be a lot of things we can talk about. So
I agree.
Very cool. Very cool. So probably a good place to start would be probably where it began. So if you can take me back to like your childhood, where'd you grow up? You mentioned you were from Cleveland originally. Tell me a little bit about your origin story.
Okay. So, Cleveland's where I'm from originally, Ohio, and I was there till about 11. I didn't have a good experience in school. It was really bad, actually. I mean, I have Tourette syndrome, but it's kind of seemed like it's pretty cliche these days. I don't have a major case of it like you see on TV. And do you know what that is?
Yeah. Is it more the swearing or is it more the tics? Because I know the tics are usually what people get. And I know you can mend those things over time. There's treatment you can do to like improve that. But I know some people it's very, very severe where they can't, it's like involuntary. You just cannot stop making tics or convulsions and making noise and things. So
when I was in school, it was just that. It was uncontrolled. And I would make noises in class. I would have and on top of that, the way I handled socializing was critically horrible. And so it would affect me in such these dramatic ways. And as children would just jump all over that, right? I mean,
he's different. Make fun of him. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah,
so.
Beat him up. Do these things that I would not wish on anybody, right? That happened all the way up until high school when I got a little bit bigger, and then I could stand on my own 2 feet, and people didn't mess with me as much. But it went all the way to the end. I also bounced schools because my parents moved around quite a bit, and I wasn't able to set roots, I guess. And you know what? I look back on this, and there's times when I feel a little bit, like a little bit of lack. I'm not a lack kind of guy, but there's moments when I feel that where I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had lifelong friends, you know, and because I don't, but I'm not, but I'm also, I've got a lot of other gifts, I would say. But back then, man, it was rough. And when I got out of high school, it was so bad that I was a D plus student throughout all of when they actually started grading our grades back then. Um, and I like barely graduated high school, like just by the skin of my teeth. I got past it. And afterwards, I didn't know what to do. I had no purpose. I had nothing that fulfilled me. I wanted to please everybody. I think I was a product of my environment inside of high school. And, but when I got into my early 20s, the Tourette's simmered down like a ton. And today, I mean, you see, I'm not throwing ticks out there. I'm not on any medication whatsoever. I'm on
Wow.
Celsius. So, I mean, here
Congrats.
we go.
Well, I'd be ticking if I was on Celsius. I get a little caffeine over this on my end, but yeah.
If you do see something, it's probably because of the Celsius a little heightened. But no, I don't take anything today. But you know, with all that D plus wisdom that I had, you know, out of high school, I decided that college wasn't my thing. And so instead, I decided to become a roofer.
Okay.
Yeah, but not just any roofer. I was a damn good roofer. I was really, really fast, and I thought that's what it was about. I thought it was about being fast, being a hard worker, taking my body all the way to the limit in 120-degree roofing weather, falling off of roofs, and I I was blown off of a roof by a tornado.
Oh my
And this
gosh.
and I was going to start our podcast with that, but you asked me a very specific question, but I was going to start with that. Yeah, I was blown off a roof by a tornado, and that's one of 5 roofs that I've fallen off of. And even after all of those crazy things that have happened, I still didn't get majorly injured from any of those falls. I did suffer a major injury, but not from any of those falls, which is mind-blowing to me as a roofer. Now, when I was about 21 years old is when I first started to become interested in business. And so what I started to do is I started to do a deep dive into my own personal education development into business. And so I started to learn about pricing strategies. I started to learn about marketing. I started to learn about all of the things that you and I find now in entrepreneurship. I didn't really know that's what I was learning. What I did know is that I wanted to, I was working for my dad back then, and I wanted my dad to have a business that just blew it up, and he didn't give a shit about any of that stuff. He didn't care.
And it was his roofing business, or was it? Okay.
Yeah, it's his. And he didn't, I don't want to say he didn't care, because that's not true. He did care, but he wasn't in it. He didn't want it like I did. I had that ambition or that drive.
He's like, I just got a truck and I want to do the roofs.
Yes,
and
I want to go. I want to work. I want to just make the money, pay my bills. Yeah. And, but he gave me space. He gave me a little bit of space so that I could start to explore these things. Because in the end, I mean, it would have benefited him, of course, if things worked out. We all would have won, right? It didn't exactly work out that way, though. We did get blown off the roof by the tornado, and I did. And we could get into that later if you want to. But after that, I had to take this piece of rubber, and we were doing this carport, and we had to go up. It was just a single story carport, probably 10 feet, 12 feet off the ground. I had to take like maybe 3 steps up a ladder and then roll this rubber off onto the carport because they didn't put the rolls up there. We didn't think it was stable enough to handle that weight. And so we cut it down on the ground. We folded it up, and it took 3 guys to put this thing on my shoulder. We estimated it might have weighed around 400 pounds. We don't know. I get on the ladder, and I take 1 step, 2 step, snap. My lower back just breaks. 2 discs burst inside of my lower back. And I had to get surgery. So they replaced the discs with cadaver bones. I've got pins and screws back there, titanium pins and screws. So now I get to tell people that I'm part human, part cyborg, part zombie.
Holy
'Cause
shit, the Terminator's in the podcast.
literally brought it all here
That's
today.
awesome.
And I got to pull something from it. And then, and that turned into an absolutely horrific, major drug addiction.
Okay.
Yep. I became very addicted to pain medication, and not the little stuff. For those, if anybody's watching that is addicted to pain medication, bless your heart, man, get out of it as fast as you can. But it was OxyContin, which is the absolute terrifying. It's legal heroin, essentially.
Right.
And I was on a lot. I was taking so much every day. But just prior to that, I'm kind of skipping a little bit here.
That's right.
I married into I married my first wife, and she had 2 children. I adopted those children, and then her and I had 3 of our own. Jade, Noah, and Elijah. So it's Taylor, Austin, Jade, Noah, and Elijah, and identical twins on the bottom. Surprise me. But we had twins. And during this time when I was addicted to drugs, and I was pretty heavy into World of Warcraft because I was just badass like that. That's what I thought of myself. I was a neglectful father. I wasn't a horrible father, but I was a neglectful father. I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. That's what drugs do to you, right? They take that away from you. And I didn't know that I didn't care. I didn't understand what was happening. All I knew was I need that next fix. One day, while I was heading to work, I'd lost my job with my father. My father had to let me go because it was that bad. And I was working at that time as a store manager for McDonald's. And I was on my way to work. And actually, if there's some people that are going to listen to this is all right. So I was on my way to work, and I was driving my van. I was alone. I feel like we're out of time. I apologize because I'm skipping some things here.
You're fine. I'll jump back when we need it. So
I appreciate you. And plus, this story's kind of hits me. Maybe not what you expected when we came in.
No, this is great.
No, okay. Because of the addiction, I tried to stop by starting to take methadone, if you're familiar.
Yep.
Okay. I was actually in lines down in Des Moines at the methadone clinic, me personally. It was embarrassing. It really was. And I started to abuse that immediately because I was addicted to drugs. It wasn't going to get me off. It became worse. So this was 2008, I think. I was on my way to work, and I was out of drugs, and I was bawling my eyes out. I was yelling at myself. I was screaming. I was terrified. And I was on my way to work, and I was about to cross this bridge. And I guess for anybody that's familiar, from Ogden to Boone is where I was. And I was about to cross the 30 bridge. And I was picturing myself slamming the wheel to the right as I was flying down there and just careening into the river. And I'm getting goosebumps now. I was so close to doing it. And for whatever reason, right when the bridge hit, I started screaming and I just kept going forward. And immediately after that, something changed in me. I knew from that point forward that I was going to never do drugs again. And I didn't know how. I just knew that no matter what, I had to make that happen.
Well, what was the thing that went through your mind that stopped you from crashing or just doing something crazy? Like what thought went through your head that made you stop?
Yeah. I asked myself that a lot, actually, because it was so tumultuous. It was such a powerful moment. I'm pretty sure it was my kids. I'm pretty sure it was my kids. And just the fact that I've already let them down this much. Why would I just ultimately do that to them? I was more than that. If I had done that, had I actually made that choice, I would have committed to the belief of everyone else that I was this troubled kid, that I was this kid that would never make anything of himself, who was always emotional about things, who couldn't handle people, so on and so forth. I would just give the whole world proof that all of that was true. And I wasn't that. I didn't believe that. Whatever identity I had at that time, I didn't believe it in that moment. And so I knew it was going to be new. And so I called my parents. I said, I'd like to come stay with you for the whatever it takes to get off this stuff. And then I did. I went cold turkey on it. It was 15 days of no sleep. It was a hard time. I had the dog, and the dog would come up next to me. It'd be 3:00 in the morning. I'm not sleeping. So the dog would come up next to me, lay next to me, and pass out just like that. And I was like, you mother, I'm like, come on, man. Like, you don't have to rub it into my face. Right.
Yeah.
But I made it through that.
When it was, I was going to ask you a question too. You mentioned your dad had to let you go. What was that, experience like, of like having to fire your own son because he's strung out on drugs and he's not shown up to work, or he's, not to mention that the cause of the drug addiction, the core of it is the work in the first place, like a workplace accident. What was that? How was that like, how did that strain your relationship with your dad?
It was tough. Him and I during that time got into a couple pretty heated fights, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Even to the point once where he was yelling at me to punch him. And I mean, it just got, he didn't know what to do, right? I mean, I couldn't imagine being him if the roles were reversed, especially today. If the roles were reversed, I couldn't imagine having to deal with me as a father, right? And so bravo to him. And it had to be hard for him to let me go. I guarantee that it was incredibly hard for him to let me go. It's been hard for him to let anybody go in the business. So one of the actual business problems is not knowing when to let somebody go and hanging on to them, thinking that some miraculous thing is going to change.
They're going to get hit by lightning and suddenly...
But they're going to be great.
Yeah.
They're going to be hard workers. They're going to be off drugs. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
No, that's just not how it works. And so that was a good question. I started smoking, man. I smoked for 19 years.
Cigarettes or weed?
Cigarettes.
Okay.
2.5 packs a day.
Sure.
I was a chimney. All of us roofers were chimneys. I mean, it's what we did. It was the lifestyle. In some cases, it still is the lifestyle for some of them. And
right.
I wish they had the opportunities, or I wish they took the opportunities to make some changes in their lives. But that's just the beginning. So
no, this is great. I think, and it's interesting because you talk about having these kind of, I think everyone has these points. It might not be as dramatic in other people's lives, but that people have these moments where you make that decision that alters your entire life. Because like you said, you could have thrown the towel or done whatever you've done, and we've even had people in my personal world that just committed suicide on a not on a whim, but like to the public, life's perfect.
Like,
and then
blindsided.
Yes.
Everybody feels blindsided.
You peel back the layers and you see the writing on the wall. And it's like, gosh, if they could have just gotten somebody in their ear to talk to them about how great their life is, they just don't even realize it because they're so in what they're doing, and they're not in the right mind and whatnot. So as you're going through that process with, your relationship with your dad being strained, but then also your family, your kids and everything, were there any like breaking points with the family that they were kind of like, okay, like your wife and kids and everything, were they to the point where like, okay, like you need to go take care of this because you're not showing up the way you need to here at home?
I wish my kids were mature enough at that time to say something like that, but they were all pretty young. My wife was also on drugs with me at that time. I had, um, and I don't think I convinced her to start taking drugs, but I believe that kind of happened subconsciously so that I didn't feel so alone and weird in the relationship. Right. So I don't blame her for, I'm like, oh, you got a little cut on your boo-boo? Maybe you should take some hydrocodone for that. Just ridiculous suggestions like that. I'm sure I played a huge part in that. But frankly, it was about 15 days after I got clear-headed because, when you're literally in a fog for 8 years, it was 8 years long that addiction happened. When you're in a fog that entire time, you can't see anything outside of this. And not only is it a bubble, it's a foggy bubble. Okay. So it's like, it's dim. It's only me that I got to care about. And all of that started to dissipate. So I might've still been in a bubble, but I could see everything now. I could see the relationship that I had with my ex-wife now, which I'll explain here in a second, the relationship I had with my kids. All of these things were making sense to me suddenly. Suddenly my brain was like, oh, I get to work again. It was maybe 15, 20 days after I got clean that I realized that I had an incredibly strained relationship with her. And I left. And I left, and this was one of the biggest mistakes that I made was leaving. And I can't do anything about it. Can't take it back now. What I've done since is way changed. But leaving them, I saw the kids like every weekend or every other weekend, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. My daughter was 15, 16 at the time, and she ended up getting pregnant. Just everybody tackled this in their own way, and it was kind of bad. My 3 youngest boys were troublemakers at school. They were getting in trouble all the time. And then it took me about a year and a half after I left my relationship to get clear-headed enough to figure out that I needed to do something dramatically different if I was going to expect anything from this life that I've been blessed with. And I found a woman that I used to know in Cleveland, and we got back in touch, and she came into my life, and she was a major catalyst to change. At the same time she came into my life, like literally days apart, I got primary custody of my 3 youngest because they were just in bad circumstances. My life was starting to pick up better and better and better, and it was appropriate that I took them on. And that's when I started my first business too, which was I was doing some subcontracting work for my dad. I started, believe it or not, after the back surgery. Oh yeah, by the way, they told me I'd never lift more than 15 pounds. And then I went, anyway, for 8 years I listened, and then I went back and I was like, what the? It's such a, and I know why they said it though. I don't blame them. They say it to be safe. They want to protect themselves, right? They don't want to be like, hey, go out and lift because all you need to do is work on your muscles and your bones will be fine. They can't say things like that because somebody's going to sue them and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's all these consequences.
Sure.
Anyway. But
so you listened for 8 years and then you went out and started a construction company.
I did. Well, here's the thing. I did what I know. Okay. I did what I know, and I bootstrapped it. Right. And so, like I said, I was subbing for my father for a while, and then I started my own company, and I took all the knowledge because, bless my dad. He didn't go into that deep dive and learn these things. I did. And so I was able to take that knowledge and start building a company fast and hard. And I still made huge mistakes, right? But I also started another company. I started a DJ business, DJ karaoke business. And
now we're hearing the radio voice. Now I know what it was. It's like, that's what it is. Like,
yeah.
Welcome to the couple on the stage. Like, I can hear it. I can already hear it. Cannons going crazy and confetti. Yeah, exactly.
It was where you're throwing music. I didn't do mixing or anything like
Okay.
that. Yeah, there was no mixing.
You
or
weren't
anything like that.
scratching
No, I wasn't
records like the
scratching.
90s rapper or something.
I knew some guys like that. I knew some
Okay.
guys like that. I wasn't that guy. I
Okay.
wasn't that guy. That's funny. No, we had a blast though. The karaoke and DJ company, that was probably a ton of fun, but I started to dip into alcohol pretty bad. And prior to that, I wasn't a big drinker at all.
Well, especially in those like the nightclub scene, the
Yeah.
like DJ scene, there's always drinks going around, or like get the DJ a drink, like you can.
Yeah,
it's
literally
easy to fall into that. I could see.
Yeah, and we were doing anywhere between 5 and 7 gigs a week. And many of them were at night or on the weekends. Of course, I would allow myself to drink. And more at the beginning, it was exploratory because I had never been a big drinker. Matter of fact, I was very much against drinking. And then I just kind of let it ride to my detriment because that started to get out of hand. And it got out of hand so much that even though I had all these gigs and I had a bunch of DJs working for me, I wasn't able to maintain 2 businesses at a time like I was doing. So I ended up letting that business, it was a 9-year business that I had that, and I ended up shutting it down because of the drinking part of it and how much it was affecting my progress. There's something very dramatic changed in 2014 that has me sitting at this table with you here today. And that was, so I also had a video production company for a while.
Yeah, I saw that. Nice.
Yeah. And it was a totally low key. It was more like my passion. So I would almost even classify it as a side hustle. But it was starting to pick up steam. But unfortunately for me, on the video side of it, I started to lose the passion for it when I started to have to hunt money on, making it better and so on and so forth. And so I never really took that to where I wanted to. I'll be getting back into film again because it's such a passion of mine. I love it. But not for a money reason. It's going to be a complete art reason. So.
Sure. Because what niche were you shooting? Weddings as well, or was it other niche?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weddings and events.
Okay.
Weddings and events, and then of course just random short films and stuff like that.
Sure.
My twin boys, Noah and Elijah, they got into the film stuff. They started the Moore Brothers YouTube channel.
Okay.
And they were doing like skits at school. They'd have all their friends in it, so it became like this big thing in that community. We're living in Madrid at the time.
Sure.
Right up the road.
Yeah.
And so they became a huge hit in the community because of their YouTube channel. But 2014, we did contests for karaoke. We give out $1,000 to the best singer. And we do these short films. This is more just to please my videography stuff. We would do these short films on how to present the promotional video for the contest. And we were doing that once, and I was watching the behind the scenes footage on it because I was going to put this cool BTS scene on, I was going to release it and everybody's going to laugh. It was going to be great. And somebody else was filming while I was directing some people around and stuff. And I was a dick. Can I say that?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I can go ahead and cuss. That's fine.
I was an absolute dick. I was appalled at how I was acting towards these whom I was calling friends. And it hit me so hard. It hit me so hard that I was like, oh my, if I act like this here, what am I acting everywhere else? And I was like, this can never happen again. And it sparked something in me. It sparked something huge in me. And I started to, I decided that I was going to start reading, and I got Audible. And one of the first book I read was The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Great book. And then following that, I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Have you read it?
No, I've read the Brandon Burchard.
Okay.
He has a high
Habits.
It's a habits book. There's a I forget the title. It's something catchy. It's something good that would jump off the shelf. But yeah.
When I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, That book changed my life forever. I'm here today probably because I read that book, because I read it and then I read it 3 more times immediately. And because it was so profound, it was so mind blowing to me that I could be thinking in these other ways, that I could be perceiving reality in a way that was not conducive to my success. And so it changed everything. And I started a morning routine. I started to study habits. So in order, I started with human behavior, and then I went to communication, and then I studied relationships, and then finance. And to me, I think those 4 areas of study will get you the most success you could possibly ever imagine. And it's where I started. And so the habits part was number 1. So human behavior, and I went deep dive into this. I wanted to understand me more than anything else. Why did I say the things that I said? Why did I do this? And it started to change the way I would talk. It started to change the way I would have conversations with my kids. Suddenly, my kids, who were C students, were suddenly becoming A students, A plus students, all-star athletes, salutatorian, just crushing it in life. And all of it was unlocked. They had to do the work, but all of it was unlocked by them being able to see their dad unlock his own potential. And when they could see that and they could witness that physically, right in front of your face, suddenly you're like, whoa, maybe change isn't as bad. And I never pushed them. We always talked. We always just talked. Today, they're everybody's doing great. So I started that habit journey. I started a morning routine because I learned that habits were going to change my life. I started to write my goals down. I started to write down my affirmations. I have a list of 20 I am statements today that I read to myself aloud every single morning. Today, I have 13 habits that I do every single morning that are not health related, like brush your teeth and go to the bathroom and shower. No, there's affirmations. I'm reading the Bible right now. I plan on reading all of the different religious texts out there. I do my affirmations. I do read my goals. I read my values so I can keep my values at the forefront of my mind. And all of this has promoted me to a place that I'm befuddled why I'm here right now and in the position to be able to coach just absolute all-stars out there. Today I coach multimillionaires. What? I was a roofer. That's what I did. And I was really good at roofing. And today I get to do that. It's an unbelievable transition.
For sure. For sure. Well, I think even just the piece about like your kids seeing what success could look like or what good habits look like. What were some of those things that, were they just seeing what you were doing, like your morning routine and things and how you were leveling up your life? And then what are some of the things they started doing that were kind of like reflective of what you were doing to kind of see it play out that way?
I think in the end, it was the value change. So like you could see that my values were changing. I knew I needed an identity shift. The only way that I was going to build whatever I wanted to build was to kind of erase my old programming and reprogram the new identity, right? Just a hard reset of some type. And I would talk to them conversationally about how I was going about doing that. So we would end up talking about values. We'd talk about identity. We would talk about beliefs, especially beliefs. And anytime they would have an issue or a challenge, they'd bring it up to me, and then we'd talk about it, and we'd use those foundational elements of how to talk about it instead of me just telling them what to do. We'd start unlocking things in them, ways of seeing things that they never even thought were possible to see. That's what I think really happened. And of course, there's the father-son thing too, right? It's if you see your dad crushing it, you're going to feel probably like you want to crush it, Probably.
Right.
Right. You know, everybody sees events differently, or I should say responds to events differently. But in my case, they followed suit. They were like, oh yeah, we're a crush it family. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got a saying, everything is complicated until it isn't, or everything is hard until it isn't. You know, so we anytime someone would say that's hard, you know, but that's hard, I'd be like, well, yeah, it's supposed to be. Everything's hard until it isn't hard.
And don't they say, what's the saying? Like, you choose your hard, because everything's hard. You could not go to school and not eat breakfast or take care of yourself and be a slob, but then like that's easy.
That's hard,
but
yeah.
then when you don't graduate high school and you can't get a job, like that's hard
Oh,
too.
right,
So like
right.
you got to like, it gets the consequences, right? It's
all hard.
If you put the work in, it's hard, but then the payoff's worth it. Or if you don't put the work in, then not getting that result is hard too. Because then you got to watch your friends and coworkers succeed and you don't, like that type of thing. So
yeah, and I think there's a time element to it as well. You know, I think when we think 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, we're not thinking of the future consequences of our actions. You know, when I started to challenge myself to be thinking about those future scenarios, that really got me into a different mindset than how am I going to get through tomorrow? How am I going to get through tomorrow? When I was getting off the drugs, it was every second that I was trying to get through, right? And then if I did get through the seconds, it was every minute that I was trying to get through. And then just throughout this time up until 2014, it just kept getting larger and larger, the space that I'd be thinking. So now it's not, what am I doing next week? It's, what am I going to crush this quarter? What am I going to crush in the next 5 years? Mm-hmm. I've got some lofty goals, man. And it's going to be, and in order to crush them, I got to keep them in the front of my mind at all times. And then as long as I can, that gives me the ability to course correct. I can
for sure
click it over.
Well, I would say write them down. I'm a huge goals guy as well. I do an annual review video on my YouTube channel every year where I publicly state all my goals. I track them, and then at the end of the year or the next year, I do a review of the year.
Dude, that's awesome.
And then I look at my thermometers of like, here's the metric. Did I hit it or not? Sometimes like super exceed it. Other ones like completely fall on my face. But I just like,
yeah,
I know at the end of the year.
And you publicize that.
I do.
That's awesome.
And then at the end of the year, I'm like, all right, so here was the goal. I completely bombed it. Like I have to kind of like own the shame of it, which is kind of fun. So that's been the way. And then what I always do, and we even had it when I first met you, like I tell people my goals in the business, like I want to hire a new employee every year, the next 5 years. I tell people that every time. So then when I meet them again,
it'd be like, hey,
they're like, hey, I noticed you haven't hired anyone else. Like, what the hell are you doing? So they kind of hold me accountable to what I'm trying to do. So it's kind of funny. Like you do that type of stuff too. Because when it comes to business, I'm just curious if you've thought about this at all, but do you feel like you replace the piece of you or your brain that has to have that addiction or that substance? Have you filled that with business and goal setting and trying to achieve success?
Interesting. So I filled it with learning. That's what I filled it with. So my number one value is learning. That's number one. And the reason why I think I made that number one, I think there was a lot of subconscious play at it. However, think about it. I had so many unbelievably bad things happen in my life. And if I can't immediately find the lesson there, because there's a lesson in every single event that happens ever. You and I just shaking hands, there's a lesson there. If you are tuned in to that frequency of getting lessons, right? And so for me, the number one value being learning means that I'm tuned in to learning at all times. And I still got to get better at it though, right? So I think that that learning is what was your question one more time?
Do you feel like you replaced your substance abuse addiction with an addiction to business and work?
Yeah, not that, but definitely the learning part, which kind of transferred over into the business and the other stuff. But learning, yeah. And then of course, leadership and gratitude. So it's learning, gratitude, leadership, resilience, and legacy are my top 5 values. The gratitude one, I had I had an opportunity to raise gratitude up to the top of my value list. And I think we all have that opportunity, but I had like a really profound opportunity to do that. And so I'm grateful that I was addicted to drugs. And that's a hard thing to say, especially because of some of the things that I did back then to other people and how other people got shrapnel from this major grenade that I was. And so, but I'm grateful for the experience. I wouldn't be here today if that didn't happen. And I'm grateful. So I haven't gone to college, but I would argue that I probably have a master's degree in education just because of how much I've actually focused on education in my life. Today, it's all about AI, right? And I'm so, I'm so grateful for my story. Ryan, my number one goal right now is I'm going to be one of the world's leading inspirational speakers. That's my number one goal. And I want that. I cannot express to you how much I want that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had Adam Carroll on the show. If you're familiar with Adam,
Yeah, I love Adam.
I will connect you with him.
That's so killer.
He's charging like 25,000 plus a
Yeah,
session.
I know. He's
travels
going crazy.
everywhere.
It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Adam.
There you go. Yeah, he's a great guy. So we'll connect you with him. If
you had him yesterday.
Yesterday he was here.
That's so funny. Him and I were been emailing in the last couple of days.
Nice. Well, yeah, and he's not to go off on a tangent, but we've been connected for 10 years, and
oh, that's so cool.
He was trying to get us on the shred method 10 years ago, and my wife and I paid off all of our debt in a year and a half, like $116,000 in a year and a half, and
let's go.
We didn't do the shred method; we just did the Dave Ramsey snowball method.
Okay.
So we were talking about it. He's like Dave Ramsey, like we're having a fun talk, but
yeah.
But no, I think, and again, if you put those goals out into the universe, immediately you say that, and I'm like, who do I know that could help him get that goal? Oh, Adam knows. And I think in February, they're doing like a speaker event in Nashville where they're getting people together to talk about how to grow your speaker business. So anyway, there's like, again, like I hear things, I'm like, who can I help with what? So I think when you put that out into the world, people can tune into that frequency, and it's amazing when you just put out to the world what it is. Cause people, I heard this yesterday too. It's really funny. Like people will be great cheerleaders for you when you're at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Like you've already reached success. And like, oh, look at that guy. He's crushing it. It was like, I needed that encouragement when I was at the freaking bottom. I'm at the bottom of this hill. I got to hike up here.
But there's an entire opposite side of that. Like this stoic mindset of don't tell people what your goals are. Show them.
Sure.
Right?
Don't let on too much.
And
just
that's
work,
attractive too, right? That's attractive too, because, if suddenly I come out of nowhere and you never saw me coming, I mean, that's pretty badass. I mean, to most people, it's pretty badass. To me personally, when I talk to people about it, it is absolutely motivating to me, because I'm like, oh, fuck, there's one more person I just told. Now I just keep telling people, because it's how I'm going to get there.
Sure. Well, and I have this kind of balance as well, where like oversharing on social media about stuff, because a lot of people get, I don't want to say like grouchy about it, but it's like, they're mad that I'm doing well in a certain area, but I'm like, but like, you don't get it though. Like I'm just starting. Like, you don't, like, yes, I've been doing this 10 years, but I'm like, I'm at the bottom of the hill in my mind, but people think I'm like bragging online. I'm like, no, I'm just like sharing my journey, like the ups, the downs, it's all that stuff. And it's mainly for an archive when I go back 20 years from now to look back and show my son or my daughter, like, hey, this is what dad was doing in his 20s and 30s. Like, I documented it so you can watch it back and remember what was going on. So it's like, it's a dual-edged sword, because there's sometimes you need to just go in your cave and work, and so you can pull something out that's cool. You're like Iron Man, like building something in the cave, like bring it on out when it's ready to show off. But then there's another part where it's like, you almost have to build it in public, because then there's that public accountability. It's that, the city joker that gets tied up in the square and you're throwing fruit at him because they're making a show of it. It's almost like you have to, I'm going to build this in the town square so then people can see it, but then they can also like have some input, but then hold me accountable. So I show up every morning, keep working on it. Because if I don't, it's easy to let go.
Well, you're in marketing, right?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. So what is marketing in one sentence? Less than 10 words.
I would say making a group of people aware of a brand.
I like it. I like it. Our definition of marketing, my definition of marketing is telling people what you do.
Sure.
That's it. Super simple, right? Telling people what you do. I need to market in order like one of my effective things in my life is I want to affect as many people as possible with my story only if it can help them, right? But I can't do that unless I actually tell them what I'm doing, right? I have to market to them in order to be effective. It's whether it's church or it's this or that or concerts, you got to market to get the people into the arena, right?
Mhm.
As you're building this out, you're telling people what you're doing. So you're essentially just marketing. That's in a nutshell. But you have to do that. If you wait till the very end and you crushed it, you're in the cave building your Iron Man suit, and then finally you come out. I mean, it might be spectacular, but that's only if it's spectacular. If it's not, you wasted a lot of time not reaching an audience that you could have been talking to.
Sure.
Especially if you're being vulnerable. This is something that I'm just learning about too, is being vulnerable. Like in the last couple of years, I've really opened up as far as vulnerability goes. And so I salute you on the vulnerability side, man. Keep that shit up. That's awesome.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. And I think, and this is something we're seeing just with a lot of our clients and with AI and people putting on a front, trying to be different than they are, putting on like a mask. And it's like people, especially in the marketing world, people will connect more with authentic messages and just being like, who are you? Like, if you're a small mom and pop shop and you're trying to pretend like you're the size of Amazon, like people sniff that shit out really quickly. Like you're full of it. What are you doing? But then also you're like with this huge like annuities and life insurance company and you're 30,000 employees and you're trying to be like, oh, we're just a small town shop. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Like, be who you are and own it. It's like, here's who we are, but here's how we're different. And there's a way to spin being small as a benefit to people. There's a way to spin being a big company as a benefit to people. There's ways you can do it. It's just own it. I think that's a big piece that people don't do or they're afraid to do. So,
if I look back to like my early days in high school and, I got a pretty bad problem with people. Not today, but it's still, there's residuals of this, right? And it's almost like because of those experiences that I've experienced, I don't trust people with the real me, right? I don't trust people with the authentic me. And what I'm finding out is that the more authentic I am, the more people resonate with me. And I'm like, well, shit. Like, I mean, why wasn't I doing this, 10 years ago or something like that? But everything happens for a reason, I suppose.
No, it's true. And I see that as well. Like, I'm a pretty outgoing guy, pretty talkative. I get in certain circles, and people don't like that. So I'll kind of like, I kind of turn the volume down a little bit, which kind of sucks, but I get it. Like I could be a little too much for people. I get that, but it's, it kind of does wear on you though. Cause if you're around people like that, where you have to change who you are to appease them.
Oh man.
It's exhausting.
Oh, it's super exhausting. Yeah. Like, I'm fatigue city.
Yeah. So a lot of times I'll talk to people, I'll meet them in person and we'll be connected on LinkedIn or Instagram, or I've met people that were like subscribers on my YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube for over a decade and people are like, oh my God, you're exactly like you are in your videos. I'm like, why would I be anyone else besides who I am?
Damn right.
What a weird concept that like, I mean, and again, like, I don't want to have to put on my mask of I'm going on the video and I'm going to be this performative and then take the mask out. Like, I'm just going to be who I am, So I think that's a way, especially with marketing. It's like, just be authentic, be yourself.
Yes.
And then like share the journey. Cause I think a lot of people, I mean, some of my favorite brands, like you think of the Nikes, the Under Armours, you don't know anything about the people behind those brands, but then you look at like some of me for like fitness clothing and stuff like Alpha Lead, if you're familiar, Christian Guzman down in Texas, he's been a big YouTuber. He's documented it. He's grown his company from him in a shed to now it's like
I love that.
All of his brands collectively are like worth over $700 million now. He has a gym down there that's like doing crazy numbers. They have a clothing brand that does $100 million a year in revenue.
Earned it.
Yeah. And he's documented the crap out of it. So people are like, I could buy a Nike shirt or I could support this dude because he's doing the stuff that I respect or that I also am doing or whatever. Like you respect the hustle, right? So
you don't want to support the sweatshops or anything like that?
Try not to. Yeah,
that's not my thing.
the Vietnamese people need their $1 an hour type of, and it's like, again, trying to just put your money where you want to support it. So I think that's a big piece of it. So with your current business, we talk about Action Coach. Talk to me how you started these other small businesses, and then now you're like, okay, I've done a lot of work on myself. I want to like kind of bring that back to other people and help other people. How did you start Action Coach, or how did you get involved with it?
Great leading question, actually. So, when I had my company, my construction company, I had Vanguard Exteriors as a construction company, and I decided to implement. So in 2014, I started what I call my personal and professional development journey. Okay. Professionally, I was learning about business a long time ago. However, I really took it to heart in like 2014, and I took me to heart. Did you know who Jim Rohn is? Oh, sad face. Jim Rohn. Do you know who Tony Robbins is?
Oh, of course.
Jim Rohn taught Tony Robbins. Okay. So
is it Rohn, R-H-O-N-E?
R-O-H-N.
Okay.
R-O-H-N.
Gotcha. My son's name is Rohn, so that's kind of ironic. I'm wow. It's kind of a wild. Anyway. Continue.
Okay, that's cool.
Spell
that's
a little
way cool.
So, yeah.
Jim, one of his taglines used to be, "Work harder on yourself than you ever do a job." Work harder on yourself than you ever do a job. Hormozi, you know Hormozi, right? I love his line, and I don't think he really claims it. However, he talks about, don't invest in the S&P, invest in the S&Me 500, right? And they say like the return on investment is 200% if you invest in yourself. I took that to heart. Okay, they said read a book a week for the rest of your life, and you'll be one of the most successful people you know. I took that to heart. And I was like, all right, game on, let's go. And everything started to change. And what's funny is that any world challenge that I had went away. And I no longer, like everything in the world that I thought was problems suddenly became not problems anymore. And it's not because something out there changed. It's because I changed. It's because I changed my perspective. So in my construction company, I was really starting to learn these things, and I would take my crews and I would start to teach my crews these things. I didn't realize how much traction I was getting with my crews until after I let a couple of them go. Just a couple guys that just, for whatever reason, they couldn't make the cut. Okay. And I had to let them go. A few months later, I got a text out of nowhere saying how much did I change their lives, and how much that working with a company like ours is just, they've never worked for something like that before, and they can't find anything like it. That melted my heart, right? One of the best things I have ever experienced was getting those texts. And so I changed the slogan for my company, or I adopted a slogan. We build people in my construction company. That didn't exactly fit the construction company. The build part did perfectly, but the we build people part didn't.
And people were like, I just want my house fixed.
Look, man, could you just do the siding?
You're like, hey, but our employees are really happy. Like, that's nice. Can you quote us the siding, please?
It's funny because I actually would, I'd take some of this stuff, to my clients too, to my customers. And so I was infecting both customers and my employees. And it was such a surreal experience. It was wonderful. I could just do my side.
What do they always say? Just put the fries in the bag. They always say like that's like, dude. It's like, come on.
That's good. So it didn't work perfectly. However, it was working. And so that started, that slogan, I think was like 2016. And 2018, I burned the boats. You ever heard that story?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Yeah. In 2018, I decided to take Vanguard Exteriors full blown, and I burned all the other businesses down. Boom. You're all done. And we're going to do Vanguard. The decision was rough for sure. Especially because I was putting all my pennies into, the construction thing, and construction was never my thing. That was my dad's thing. Right. However, I was good at it. So, you know, by the way, for anybody taking advice out there, don't just do what you're good at. Do what you want to do. Um, so I took that We Build People thing in 2018 and it was working great. And then Christmas of 2019, so December 30th to be exact, on the 29th, we had a big Christmas party at my parents' house of 2019. So what is this, like 3 days before the infamous 2020? You remember 2020?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I was supposed to get married in April of 2020.
Oh my gosh.
When everything exploded.
Oh, no.
On the beach in Florida.
Oh,
You
no.
couldn't even fly down there or go in a car. It was fun. So yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Yeah. 2020 was a mess for sure for everybody. COVID, you got COVID was huge, man. But there was other things too. It was like political unrest. There was the derecho came through, right?
Yeah.
I had a roof opened up when the derecho hit. Anyways, so December 19th, we had our Christmas party. Everybody was there. My son, Jaden, who was 20 at the time, lived in Cedar Falls. He's going to UNI, University of Northern Iowa, and for business and real estate. And he was a junior at the time. And he had an apartment up there, and he would occasionally. So my twin boys, Noah and Elijah, they were juniors in high school at the time, so they were still going to high school. And every once in a blue moon, he would come down, grab them, bring them up to Cedar Falls, and then they'd play board games and drink monster drinks all weekend. And so that was the plan. So they had gotten to talking. They're like, hey, we're going to go with Jaden this weekend. And I said, yeah, I love it. That'll be great. And that night it started to snow. And I was like, okay, listen, my son Jaden, he kind of got a little bit heated that night. And I said, if you want to leave and head back to Cedar Falls tonight, you can. You're 20 years old. I'm not going to stop you from doing it. I recommend you don't, but you can't take the twins with you. Okay. And he got mad. He got really mad. And him and I don't really fight very much. And for whatever reason, it just kind of floored him a little bit. He ended up getting over it the next day, but he just kind of floored it. And then they decided they were going to go the next day. They were going to wait, and they were going to go to their mom's in Perry, which is where their mom lived at the time. And so they did. They drove back to their mom's, and they said that night they stayed up till 3:00 in the morning, and they were playing Halo all night long, just dominating, having a blast at it. And they said it was like one of the most memorable nights. So the next morning they wake up and they drive to Madrid, where we live, and they stop over. Jaden, he stops over and he goes, I just wanted to stop by to make sure you're cool with us going, blah, blah, blah. And it was a moment of I felt truly respected from my son in that moment, which was such an amazing feeling as a father. Okay. And at the same time, I did feel like I earned it. It wasn't like you should respect me because I'm your dad. You respect me because I'm on your side. I felt that way, at least. I don't know what he was thinking in that moment, but that's the way that I felt. And they were all three. And actually, you know what? If I may, I'm going to back up just a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
To the morning. So I've got this crazy morning routine that I do every morning. Okay, including back then. This was December 30th, 2019. And I go to the gym, and at the time, I had so I listen to books on Audible, and then I read books on Kindle. So I try to tag team it so I can read a couple books or 3 books at a time. And when I go to the gym in between sets, I read. So I don't read and I don't listen to Audible when I do sets because it's difficult to maintain focus and then also count what I'm trying to count. And so I'll read between. So I'll take 2. At that time, I was like 3 to 5 minutes between sets, and I'd just read for those 3 to 5 minutes. It was great, man. I'd blow through books. It was so awesome. But that morning, I had forgotten the day before I finished a book, and I didn't buy a book. And I was like, okay, shit. And when you get to the gym, I've already got I've already predicted expectations of how everything is going to go. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to start reading. I'm going to get my gym on. And as soon as I open it up, I'm like, shit, I don't have a book. It like threw everything off. Right. And so I'm like, okay, I could do one of two things. I could just go freaking work out and not read a book right now, or I could take a minute, sit down, find a book, buy it, start it. I decided to take a minute. And when I open up Kindle, it pops up with like recommended titles based on your reading. And it was either the first or second book, I don't remember. It said The Go-Giver was the book. Have you read it?
I got recommended to it by Emily Abbas, who was on 2-3 episodes ago, and she just mailed it to me. So
Please read it.
Okay.
All right. So The Go-Giver. And I saw it and I was like, wait a minute. And I then suddenly remembered that I had a to-read book list. It was short at the time, but it was books that I want to read. And I was like, I'm going to go check. And I went over to that to-read book list and The Go-Giver was on it. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I'm like, that's a sign, if anything, right? And I look up and I'm like, all right, I hear you. I'm going to be a giver. Got it. And I bought it and I started to read it. And it was a great book. I went home afterwards and I start the rest of my routine and I finish the rest of my routines. And one of them is I've got a book similar to what you have here, but it was smaller. So my books are only like that big. And instead of one little string bookmarker, it has two and different colors too. One's white, one's brown. And every time I come out to use when I go to do the book, I write down the top 10 goals on the left side that are in my mind right now. So these aren't my actual goals. These are just what's in my mind right now that I want to achieve. And it doesn't matter when, I just write them down, just get them out of my head onto paper. And then on the right-hand side, I write down an affirmation over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Right now, my affirmation is I am one of the world's leading inspirational speakers. I am one of the world's and down the line. Back then, I think it was, I am the owner of a multi-million-dollar business or something like that.
Sure.
But when I typically I'll flip the strings out of the book. So instead of like grabbing them and pulling them out, I just flip them out, right? And I flip them out and I put the book on the table and I get to writing. And I got my keyboard in front of me and my monitor in front of me for the computer. And I just start writing and I go through the goals. And then I'm pretty sure I got through all of my affirmations when I look up, and the strings on the book were pushed up so that as it hit the keyboard, it was like pushed up against keyboard. It made like a heart. I saw a heart. I mean, it was so profound to me, especially because earlier the Go-Giver thing that happened at the gym. I was like emotionally in tune to this. I took a picture of it. I was like, snap. Oh, I'm grabbing that. And then I was like, okay, I get it. I'm going to be a giver. All right. I get it. I'm on the path. We're good. So finish my morning routine. Boys come over, ask me if it's okay. I did look at the weather. The weather looked golden. Okay. And I hugged all three of them right in my living room, right there in the front, and they left. And they went to Ames first to get pie, and each of them got a whole pie, because that's what you do when you're that age. You just get a whole pie, right? And dipped into it. And he said that it was one of the worst things he ever did to his stomach. Elijah said that. And my son Jaden was driving. It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Elijah was sitting in the front. Noah was sitting in the back with a 52-inch TV that Jaden was bringing from one of his Christmas presents that he got back to his apartment. They were on their way. Jaden had to use the restroom. And so they pulled off in Alden, Iowa, and they drove to the Casey's that was freaking 5 miles away from it. They really had to go. So, I mean, you'd take whatever trip you need to take up to that Casey's, and they stopped at the Casey's, used the bathroom. And then when they got back in, and as they were crossing just before they were crossing the intersection, the weather started to get bad. And as they were crossing the intersection, they were T-boned by an 18-wheel semi-truck tractor trailer full of corn. It spun the Mitsubishi out into the ditch. Jaden ended up hitting his head up into the frame of the car, and which is the language center of your brain, and was in a coma for a month. So all of January, we were in the hospital 2020. And then in February, we were at On With Life in Ankeny, which is a brain rehabilitation center. It was just the brilliant people over there. We love them so much.
We're shooting with them next week, ironically. So doing a video series with them. So we've done a couple interviews there. They do some really great work.
It's
so
insane. For me, it's insane. Listen, because it's like Adam now, the On With Life, the Go Giver, dude. It's. I love the way the pieces come together. Law of attraction. Anyway, they rocked out. Elijah, who was sitting in the front seat, got banged up really bad. He had a broken ocular cavity, broken ribs, things like that. But he was out walking in a few days. It wasn't too long. And tragically, we lost the life of my son, Noah, in that accident. And, you talk about being tested, right? And I thought prior to that I was being tested. The drug addiction, the Tourette's, the smoking. I stopped smoking. Just all of these just unbelievable major challenges. Divorce. I was obese. I filed bankruptcy back then. I was financially destitute back then. I was just, I might as well have had Down syndrome or something like that, right? And all of that I beat just to be tested like this, right? And you were mentioning about being vulnerable at the end of the year, right? About your goals. I love that, dude. Seriously. It was about 3 days in when we were at the hospital, and I had people texting me, calling me, and asking me left and right, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm not interested in answering all these questions, right? And instead of pitching it off to my wife, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to publicly share my journal. So I journal every single day, and every day it ends with gratitude. It ends with, here are the things that I'm grateful for. And I published it daily until, I don't know, it was like 3 months later or something like that when I stopped making it public. And I think, according to the messages that we got and stuff like that, we got so many responses from people that were just like, they couldn't believe how we were handling it as a family. I had fathers reaching out to me saying, I talked to my kids at dinner about the stuff that you're talking about on your journal. And I'm like, what? I was a roofer. That's like, this is what I did. And it was, so gratitude, what got me through that incident was that I was able to find gratitude the day that it happened. This is how far the truck was from killing all 3 of my children in that accident. And it's not lucky it only took one. That's not the way that I look at it. Look at it as, I'm grateful it didn't take all 3. The morning of the loss of Noah was incredibly impactful to us and our whole family. But because of that change that I got to experience in 2014, brother, that I think that it was all preparation for that test, that incident. And then afterwards, once we got 2020, what a mess. Afterwards, about a year later, I started to get my head on straight again. And when this family thing happened, it was the communities. Granger loaded us up, Polk City, Ankeny, Des Moines, Boone, Ames, everywhere came to support our family. It was the most unreal thing. And I used to kind of be a hermit, man. Remember, I'm not a social guy. Tourette's, I don't trust people, right? And to see all these people coming out of from nowhere that I don't even know, supporting us, also just reinforced we build people. I knew, that morning, I got all kinds of ways that I'm seeing how that morning went out, because I don't know if you're a God-fearing guy or not. I believe in God. I'm not like highly religious, but I believe in God. And something, someone, some whatever was by my side that morning before anything ever even happened. And it was, and I was able to kind of take that. And when it said, I'm going to be a giver, I didn't think I was going to be given my son, right? I thought that it was going to be like, I was going to be this philanthropist, crazy guy, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, it ends up being just both. It ends up being, I'm going to give this sacrifice so that I can be better for everyone else. And I have that opportunity to do so. Whether or not I take it, that's up to me. But that's why when I got out of the funk of that accident, I was able to take time to think, is that where I'm going to be effective in this world? Is that my purpose? Is that what's going to fulfill me? The answer was a resounding no way. No way. No way in hell. And even my coaching business, my business coaching business, is still not the end. This is still just a beginning of where this trajectory has taken us. And but I was able to leverage all of my business knowledge and all of this absolutely breathtaking personal development that I was able to do, and put it through the worst test in the world and come out on the other side not only okay, but financially more stable. I became a pilot. I bought into a franchise that is the largest in the world, and they have this incredible selection process. And I never went to college. One of the primary requirements for owning one of these franchises is going to college. Not this guy, right? I mean, and it's not because college isn't good for you, because it is. I mean, it's especially learning social cues and things like that. But it was, I can educate myself. I don't need structured education if I can structure education for myself. So it's just a wild thing. And I knew that by helping business owners, specifically business owners. If I got them to a place where they cared, they gave a shit, okay? Not just about their business and about their future, but also about their employees. If they gave a shit, now suddenly their employees are doing better. Suddenly the community is doing better. And I'm the guy behind the curtain, just kind of helping it all out. Dude, what a great place to be.
That's crazy. When you, and I don't want to dwell too much on this because I know it's probably one of the worst days of your life, losing your son. How the hell did you have gratitude in a day like that? Like your darkest day of your entire life? How could you possibly be optimistic or find any source of gratitude in that day?
Practice. Every single morning before that, I was looking at gratitude. I had even studied about death. I've had conversations with with the twins specifically about death. And they even said that they had a conversation 3 months prior to that about what would happen if one of them passed. And they said that they promised each other that they would go on. Man, this shit, you can't write this shit. It's like, it's unbelievable to me. And, but practice put me in a place where I was already tuned in, just like now I'm tuned into learning. I'm always tuned into gratitude. Like you had Adam yesterday, you have On With Life coming up. Like right away, dude, I'm thankful. I'm like, what? This is great. I'm here. I get to play in this arena. And even if I was part of building this arena, making these choices and so on and so forth, I built it upon the shoulders of absolutely just incredible people, man. People that got behind me, people that helped me. And there was a long time where I thought I did it all myself. And now I did not.
Sure. Everyone always says they're a self-made person, but I'm like,
yeah,
somebody had to be your first customer. Somebody had to,
there's no way.
Some bank had to give you a loan. Somebody took a chance on you. There's always people in that. But I just always find it interesting as you go through life, the like you said, those connection points, the law of attraction, the more you're moving and shaking, doing crazy stuff, like that naturally brings those types of people. You're going to meet those people,
No matter
So,
what. Yeah. And it's been proven the place that how we got our office, since starting with Action Coach now we've had, we're coming up on year 3. Since beginning in this global company, globally Action Coach is the #1 business coaching company in the world. Our firm has actually gotten up to the top 4% in just 2.5 years. Uh, all, in my opinion, all because I'm honest, I'm authentic, and I have a story that's built me that is beyond most people. Not everyone, trust me, but beyond most people. And I don't take it, and I'm not boo-hooing about it, right? I'm not, oh man, that happened to me, that happened to me. No, fuck that. I'm going forward, constantly going forward.
well, and again, you talk about a struggling business owner or somebody who's wanting to scale or they have their unique challenges. You can talk to somebody who's got a PhD in business.
Sure.
They've done shit with their life. Like
Yeah.
somebody that's actually been through their own hardships, their own struggles, having to fire employees, be laid off, like being fired from your own father, like things in your life that you can take those experiences and those knowledge points and breathe that into a client and say,
Yeah.
there is a way forward. You can find this, like those types of things. I think that really motivates probably not the right word, but proves to them that there is a path forward and that you've walked it and that you're going to walk with them through it too. So,
Yeah, I think experience means a lot. Again, we talk about like what changed with my kids was unlocking my potential in front of them, right? Showing them, hey, look, you can do this. So like with all of my clients, I'm not sitting on my ass being like, do this, do that, do this, do that. Why isn't it working? No. I'm crushing it outside of what they're doing as well for myself and for my family, for my business, just to expose to them, hey, look, I'm on this journey with you. We are on this journey. I might have information that you don't have. However, we're still walking the path together. And it's awesome for everyone. And if I keep coming with enthusiasm and I come with positivity and I come with, and not like blind rose-colored glasses bullshit, but just actual positive attitude, people resonate with that. Well, the people that I want to be around resonate with that.
sure.
I should very much clarify that because there's some people out there that are just negative suckers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I always say there's some people close in my life that and I've talked to my wife about it. Like she kind of knows where I'm wanting to go with my life. And I'm like, hey, I know these people are close, but like, we got to find a way to not be around these people as often. Like we get like less functions, less gatherings, less like it just,
Yeah.
I always say whenever you get with a social group and all they ever do is gossip or complain about stuff, those are the people I'm always like, I don't want to be around them because it just, I'm like, I'd rather be somewhere else, like building something cool, like, I don't know, or hearing what other people are doing. Like that's also cool, like cool stuff. I'm like, do cool stuff. Like
do cool stuff.
Let's talk about cool stuff.
Stop complaining. Hey, look, complaining is, it's a trust killer, right? If you were to complain to me about someone, I would instantly not trust you with personal information because I know you're already a complainer, right?
Yeah, and you're probably going to complain about me to the next person.
Literally.
And it's like, well, I'm not going to tell you anything.
No, so I'll never let you in, right?
Sure.
And, we're vulnerable. So, I mean, we're kind of in the position where, when it's public like this, we are letting the world know kind of who we are. I think that's a little bit different. Let people complain. If you've got people that are be like, how you doing, what you're doing, or blah, blah, blah. I call those crabs in a bucket. Have you heard that? Crabs in a bucket?
Yep.
Yeah. And so I try to make sure there's no crabs in my bucket or just no crabs near me.
The only person I ever complain to is my wife, and that's her job, just to listen to it at the end of the day.
I'm going to go ahead and say ditto on that one.
Yeah. Like you got to vent to one person. Like
she is a superstar.
And if you're single, get you a Wilson volleyball and put a face on it, and you just start talking to that thing.
Yeah.
It's way cheaper than going to therapy, in my opinion. So,
Wilson and the ball. Let's go.
I love it. Okay, so let's take a break from your story. Amazing story, by the way. Thank you so much for being vulnerable about some of the hardest stuff you've been through. It's very helpful, I think, for people listening to understand that.
Awesome.
We're gonna jump in the lightning round. You haven't been briefed on these questions. You don't know what these are. We talked about habits. I didn't even know. I wrote these before I met you, and hearing that you have this like really lengthy morning routine. What's the one habit that has changed your life the most?
Reading. 100% reading. If I say second, it would be exercise, because I was very physical in my construction company. And so I was always exercising. I never thought to actually take it under. I let the job control it, right? It was never in my power. But reading, by far, our school systems are designed to make you hate learning. So when you get out, you don't learn and you don't increase any more than what you left with. And instead, you work. Imagine what would happen if you just continued learning. But, well, hopefully I inspire somebody out there.
Sure. No, I love it. And the habit stacking, that's such a great tip. Like, if anyone's listening, stack the habits.
Stack them. That's right.
I used to be way better before I was a father, because I had way more time in the morning for my routine. But I'd read my business book. I'd eat my pre-workout meal. I'd be doing my emails, or I'd be listening to whatever. Like, I'd be like 3 or 4 things. Or I'm like at the gym listening to a book or whatever I'm doing. So yeah, if you can habit stack, that's like such a key thing. Your favorite local business to support. It doesn't have to be a client of yours, but just any business that is your favorite local business to support.
I honestly, I would say any type of nonprofit that is involved in like mentoring, Mentor Iowa, Big Brothers Big Sisters, any type of those programs, because kids aren't being taught personal development in school. Okay. Like anywhere, parents aren't being taught, kids aren't being taught. You almost have to find it or attract it into your life, and kids aren't doing that. And so I think anything like that, and of course On With Life, because that they're just such a profound place in our hearts.
Sure. No, totally. Ironically, the next question, most impactful mentor that you've had in your life?
Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn, when I discovered him, that was a game changer for me. He says it in such a way that it just makes you duh. And he's not Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins, but he's pretty in your face. Jim Rohn's not. He's very just like, hey, you could think it this way, or you could think it that way, right? Yep. It's solid stuff.
The Tony Robbins impersonators always crack me up. I see those online. Seen any of those. Oh, they're hilarious.
Oh, now it's gonna pop up on my phone. Right?
He's like, when I was a child, I was a cricket, and I used to jump off of bridges for fun. And like, just the guy's like a really crappily drawn on goatee. Like, it's hilarious. I'll have to show you after this. I like just
that's
crack
amazing.
Like, I used to have no legs and no toes, but then I grew them miraculously, and now I'm a multi-billionaire. It's like, what the heck? So,
humor. We need more humor in this world. Period. Laughing, laugh, man. I love that you laugh. Go ahead.
Great. That's great. Which actor would play you in a movie about yourself?
People. Okay, so who have I been? As far as my animation, those people that get to know me, I've got the same kind of animations as, I guess, Ryan Reynolds. But I got one guy, he used to call me Ben Affleck all the time, and I hate it.
Sure.
I hate it. I don't want to be Ben. I don't mind being Ryan. I don't want to be Ben.
Okay, that's good. Those are some options. We got some options here. I know you've mentored and coached a lot of different industries over the years. What's one industry or type of business, if you had to focus on one for the rest of your career, that you had to coach this one group, what would it be? Like, what industry or business?
It would probably be service-based. And probably trades, but I would be incredibly selective. You've got to want to grow. You've got to want to be better. One of the lines from Jim Rohn, again, was, help people, but only help them if they bring 50% to the game. If they don't bring at least 50% to the game, there's people out there that need you. So go spend your time on those people. So, I think the trades, right now I'm deep in the restaurant, which is, great. It's not where I came from. I know a lot about restaurants and everything, but it's not where I came from. So, but yeah, I got a little place in my heart for the trade. So
that's very profound. I think, having kind of the want to learn, it's so interesting. I compare it to myself, not to steal from the lightning round, but please. The amount of information I put out on YouTube and podcasts and content for free, and people ask me a question and I'm like, I've literally made a 12-minute edited video that tells you exactly what you want to know. And then they're just like too lazy to watch it. And I'm like, or then like I have online programs that I teach like videographers how to like scale a business. It's like, $600 to get in. People will pay and they'll watch every single video meticulously and then take that information and go apply it. It's like,
Yep.
all I had to do was make you pay me first to pay attention, but people that pay attention.
Yeah,
so.
it's that value thing, man. It's if you give it out for free right now, right here, they just want to feel special in the moment. They don't want really the information, right?
Yeah.
They just want to feel it. Because even if you told them what to do, they wouldn't take it and do anything with it. Because that's not why they're asking you. I mean, they're asking you because, wow, how did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. You tell them and they're like, oh man, I'm going to do that. No, you're not. Yeah. You're going to retain 10% of that. And then I'm probably never going to see you again.
Yeah. And that's why last year we started doing my Solo Video Pro is my legacy program where I teach videographers how to get to 6 figures fast with their business.
Let's go.
So I started a mastermind group for that, like small group coaching.
Okay.
But same thing. I was so rigorous. I'm like, show me your P&Ls. I want to see like your revenue has to be at a certain point. Like where are you wanting to go? What are you going to invest in this? Like if I tell you to do something, will you actually do it or take it into consideration? Or are you just like here to feel like, oh, I'm checking my box for like the continued ed stuff, you know? It's like, I'm here to like change your freaking life, man. Like, let's go. So.
And it's tough to be selected. You want to let everybody in because they got $1.
Right.
And, you get to that point though, where you start to recognize your own value and you'd be like, no, you're not qualified to be in this business. And I don't mean that on a cocky level. It just, you need to take steps A, B, C, D before you get into our business.
Sure. Totally. I love that. Last question here. What's one thing that most people don't know about you?
Most people podcast, like your audience or
yeah, just in general, like when people meet you, get to know you, maybe okay. I probably should have asked this at the beginning of the podcast where you told me your whole life story. Cause now we know everything about you, but
not everything.
Is it something, I mean, when it comes to something that's like a non-negotiable for you that they're like, oh, that's unique or interesting. Is there something like that where it's a non-negotiable for you on a daily or a monthly basis that people are interested to learn about?
Non-negotiable. But no, because my only non-negotiables really is just my ability to work on myself. And if that were to be taken away from me somehow, man, no, that we'd have a problem. I would say, on a more kind of funny level is I'm a singer. I love to sing.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't get to do it. Owning a DJ business, I got to sing quite a bit. But that was a long time ago, and I do not get to do it as often as I probably should, honestly.
What kind of music you singing these days?
Of course you'd ask me something like that. So I would say my A+ songs probably Kenny Loggins, Footloose.
Okay.
And then I like Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding.
Okay.
I get into it pretty good.
Sure. No, I like it. Yeah. When you started thinking singing, I'm like I always think of like they fall asleep in the early 2000s and wake up at 3 a.m. and the TV's still on and they got that like late night, like Michael McDonald, like singing, like so it wakes you up. Like, what the heck is that? The hits from our life. Yeah. The hits from our childhood.
Yeah.
The songs that made us who we are.
Casey Kasem.
Yeah. Literally, like, that's the first thought.
The top 10. Yeah.
That's great.
Now, singing it definitely frees me. I got to do more of it, honestly.
Sure. We have family that whenever people are singing, they'll always say like, oh man, who sings that song? And someone's like, oh, like Mariah Carey or something. Yeah. Like, oh, great, you should let them sing it. Yes. And it's always like, geez, that was harsh. That was harsh.
I'm a Star Trek guy too. So I'm not a Trekkie, but sure. I'm a Star Trek guy.
Sure. Yeah.
And I love Star Wars too. I just love Star Trek.
That's great. Yeah. No, I love it. Okay, you passed the lightning round. Thank you for participating. Now we get the noise in there. You can get that.
Yeah, I did that the other day, and my wife started laughing so hard. I just did it out of nowhere. Do 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 do. She was cracking up. That's awesome.
There you go. Bringing it back. I know we've talked a lot about your past and things. Talking more about the action coach side. I know you guys kind of have this 6-step program that you take businesses through. So it's more on the tactical side.
Let's do it.
Tell me a little bit about if someone's a business owner and they're wanting to know like what is that progression like for you, and what are the steps and how do they implement them?
I love it. So at the very bottom of the 6 steps is look at it like literally steps. Okay. At the very bottom is mastery, and mastery. Why is mastery on the bottom? It's because it's about mastering the basics, right? It's the foundational level of any business. And that foundational level is the business owner, right? What does the business owner have that's foundationally going to be able to support a big business. And it starts with the owner because typically in our case, we deal with small businesses, right? Anywhere from $300,000 a year to $20 million a year, right? That's kind of where we want to sit. And the reason why we start with the business owners is because typically they're still operating in their business, right? They're doing something, one of the jobs inside of their business that's not working for them or without them. So if that's the case, our goal is to get them to outside of the business so that they can actually have an asset rather than a job, right? And maybe their jobs is owning a bunch of businesses. That's a much better job. Trust me. So at the beginning, it's mastery. And inside of mastery, there's 4 areas that we really conquer with the owner. And the first one is destination. Where the hell are you going, right? If you have no idea what it looks like at the end, what are you fighting for? Are you just grinding, right? We got to know where you're going. Second is time. Can you master time? Do you know how to master time?
Sure. I mean, I could try, I guess.
Are you a good, can you master time? Can you manage time?
You can manage it for sure.
Okay.
If you can put it to work for you, then I think it's more mastery, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that. We typically tell people that you can't manage time. You can only manage yourself against time. Time, it's there. It doesn't move. It doesn't change. You can't move a minute from here to there. None of that is possible. The only thing you could do is decide exactly what you're going to do in each moments of those time, right? What you do in an hour is different than what I do in an hour. And that's what changes us. That's what makes us different, right? And so we go through that. We teach people how to do that. And then, and we benchmark everyone first. We benchmark everybody so that we know exactly where they're at on this stair step. So you'll have delivery next. How are your services being delivered to your clients? How are they being delivered to your customers? Are you consistent? Because the one thing that crushes delivery out of all things is consistency. If I go to work with you, especially if it's repeat business and I don't get the same experience every time, and it's different, you're running something that's chaotic. And the whole point of the mastery level is to get rid of chaos. Okay. It's literally to turn chaos into stability. So for those business owners that are like fighting fires all the time, that's the level that's going to crush chaos. And the last is finance. I mean, we're talking break-even point. We're talking just general revenue. What's gross profit? What's net profit? What are these things? Do you have your vocabulary down on that? Do you know why this is here? Do you operate in percentages or dollars? We're going to go through finances, and all of that's just your basic mastery level. That makes sense?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Following that, we've got our niche level or our marketing level. We also call this our cash level because once we get rid of chaos, now we've got stability, we can start really focusing in on the cash. Now, the truth is, whenever we start with a new client, we're actually working in both those levels at the same time. Because one of the things that a lot of clients worry about is the money piece. The whole purpose of the second level of this is so that clients are not thinking about money. That's the last thing I need you to think about in order to get out of business. I need you managing money, but not thinking about it. How am I going to pay my people and how am I going to pay my vendors or whatever that looks like? So that level is there. Inside of that level, we've got our secret formula, which I give to everybody. So it's really not that secret. It's our 5 ways of KPI tracking. That is the 5 things that you need to track. And if you influence any of these 5 numbers, it will raise your net profit exponentially. And those are the number of leads you get, the conversion rate for those leads, the number of transactions you have per customer per year on average, your average dollar sale, and your gross profit margin. Those 5 numbers. Hope you write them down. Write them down, right? Those 5 numbers. Literally just try to raise each one of those numbers by 10%. Watch what happens to your net profit. And blow your mind. And if you're not tracking those 5 things, well, then maybe that's part of the problem, right? If we're not getting the results that we want, we've got to make different moves. We got to change things. So that's the niche level. We also talk about things like USP and guarantee inside of that area too. And so once money's taken care of, then it's just fun from there, right? Now we're actually building a business. It becomes more people stuff, right? Because, but the next level is actually leverage and systems. We're going to build, and we have an Action Coach business operating system that we can install into the company that helps, right? Similar to EOS and Traction and stuff like that.
I was just going to ask, is it similar to EOS?
Yeah,
or?
you bet.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we're all of us are on the kind of same page with that. It really comes down to how people are consulted or coached. Okay. And so, but this system goes in. So we're starting work on systems. And the reason why systems don't happen first is these are like the more robust systems. These aren't like the little, how do I track leads, lead sheet kind of thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the more robust one. And that takes money. And typically what happens, once I get your money level, once we get your money level fixed or making, you're not thinking about it anymore, revenue might drop a little bit. The line, instead of going at a nice angle, it might drop a little while you're building systems because you're building efficiency, right? But as soon as that efficiency kicks, the angle is going to be much more of a driver, right? And so that's all about creating efficiency. Once we efficiency, we buy ourselves time. And after we buy time, we start working on that team. And that's where, now you're probably going to hire people in the lower levels. It's not like that. These are just the steps that it's going to take to get to the top. You'll have team members, but we're not going to focus on the big team picture until those other ones are really locked in, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So the team, everything you could possibly think of, including management. We get into management, how to manage teams, things like that. And then it's just results and synergy at the top. Results is where you get to hire a general manager for your business and you actually get to walk away. And you might be putting 4 hours, something like that, into the business just to check in, make sure things are running smooth, but you get that paycheck at the end of every month, quarter, however you want to get it. And it starts to operate without you. Now you've got yourself an actual asset and it's not something you're operating in. And then we teach you how to scale that. You know, you go from 30% increase to 30 times increase, right? It's a game changer, right? You franchise something, or you want to satellite out throughout the country, or you just want to sell it. Whatever it is, we just get you to that point so that you can make those choices. Most of us can't take 6 months off and still maintain business right now, or most of the clients that we have. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really important because a lot of people, like you said, they're owner operators or they're running a small team. Like you said, it's survival mode. It's not, it's not, what am I building? Why am I building it? It's, you have a great work ethic, but you're not working smart type of stuff. It's like, well, I'll just keep showing up and putting in 14 hours a day and it'll get better eventually. Yeah. Like it's that optimistic stupidity kind of that kills us, you know?
It's the boiling frog. Mm-hmm. Right? You sit in put a frog in cold water and slowly boil it. The frog will stay in there and die. It's the same thing with business owners. There's no change. You've got to get focus onto it. You got to become aware of it. We're the ones that come in and help you become aware of it. Here's the other thing though, right? Why do people not change typically?
It's not painful enough, or the other side of it's not attractive enough to push them or pull them away to the change.
I love it. Yeah. And fear, right? Fear of this, fear of that. I don't want to look under the rock because I might find something that makes me look like a craphead, right?
Yeah.
And so, getting in with someone like us, we're going to lift every single rock. We're going to all look together as a team, kumbaya. We're going to get in there. We're going to see like what's going on here. And then we're going to advise. And then, people, truthfully, I think that's the number one reason. I think egos are going to get checked when people have to or choose to look under those rocks, because you got to check. You've got to be cool with being humble at that point. If you're going to, you're going to find something there that's probably your fault and why it happened.
Sure.
And so, and a lot of people don't want to see that. And I'm not trying to pitch anybody on this right now. So I'm just being authentic in this. But those that overcome that, remember, courage doesn't exist without fear, right? Those that overcome that, they're the ones that really win. They're the ones that succeed. Everybody else, 30 years later, you shut down your business and you go work at a factory. Literally, I've got numerous people that have 30-year businesses. They shut down, they go to work. And even worse, they might go to work at McDonald's or Walmart.
Sure. That's kind of nuts. They always say like you don't own a business, you own a job. Like it's one of those deals. So that's super interesting. One of the questions that you mentioned as you're starting to build a business, when you start looking at the people side and you have the systems down and everything,
Yeah.
who's probably the first person a business owner should hire? If they're like an owner and operator, they have a small place, they're starting to hire their first person. Who should that first hire be, and what should they be looking for?
Yeah, and that actually is going to depend. Typically, it'll probably be an admin of some sort, but it could depend. The best model to use when deciding that is build out your org chart. You build out an org chart at the very bottom of it. That's who you should hire first, period, right? And just keep working it up. And, eventually you're going to need management, things like that. But don't sweat the big stuff, right? You're the director right now of marketing. You're the director of finance. You're the director of production. All of those, typically the owner is wearing all those hats until they bring it in. Don't hire at the top first because, well, they're not going to have really anybody to be managing, right? And so, yeah, build it from the ground up. And typically admin or some type of admin assistance is going to be at the lowest level of most businesses.
Sure. No, that's great. And then we mentioned time management a little bit. What is some of the best time management and or systems that help people scale? You mentioned that's kind of the big hairy thing is like, you got to master your time and then you need to put systems in so you can scale. What are some of the better ways to do that?
Have you read the book Eat That Frog?
I've heard about it, but also there's a gym chain called Eat the Frog. I've heard of them, and I know it's based on that motto.
You need to read Eat That Frog, man.
I've seen Eat the Frog on the gym thing.
You just dropped a little respect there.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Brian Tracy is he's the guru of goals, okay, in the world. He's an older guy now, okay? He's maybe 70s now. I don't know. But he wrote the book Eat That Frog, which actually comes from Mark Twain way back, right? And it said, if you had to eat a frog, gunpoint, every single day of your life, a live frog, and you couldn't cook it, when in the day would you do it?
First thing in the morning.
But why?
Get it out of the way. I'm not going to dread that all day. I'm tired. I go home, like take a shower at the end of the night, lay down in bed, like, oh crap, I got to go down in the kitchen, eat this damn frog. Like, no way.
No, so you said something important there. You said dread that all day, right? What's the cost to dread?
The cost of dread is, it'd be the price of today, really. It'd be the price of the difference of time between now and whenever you have to do what you need to do. Okay.
So I might answer the cost of dread would be literally the weight of it, the fatigue, like the actual energy. I mean, you only got 3 resources to spend, right? What are the 3 resources you got to spend every day?
Time, money, and effort.
Yeah, energy,
probably.
Right?
Okay.
Energy, yeah. So time, money, and energy, those are the only things you got to spend. Now, if I'm carrying something, if I'm dreading something all day, I'm expending energy that I don't need to expend. It's like making shit people in your life live rent-free in your head, right? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, right? You got to learn how to empty that space and not do it. And the Eat the Frog process is damn frog. First thing when you get up, now you literally don't have to think about it for the rest of the day.
Sure.
So you'll be more effective. You'll be a more effective manager of your energy if you take care of that right away. So Eat That Frog and time management has to do with what's your number one priority tomorrow. So at the end of today, if you're not writing down what your number one priority is tomorrow, you're not preparing what the frog is supposed to be for you. Instead, you're going to wait until tomorrow, and then you're going to react to what comes up. Be like, oh, I got to do that thing, don't I? And then you're going to react to it, right? And this puts you in a position to respond to it instead of react. That's the difference between respond and react. So we want to get all of our clients to be able to be responders, not reactors, right? Want to be trained to respond. So it starts with that. Eat that frog. Get your priority. Write it down at the end of the day. Andy Frisella is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Andy Frisella, he talks about the 5 his power list.
Power list, yeah.
Power list, okay? It's the same thing, right? So you take, it's 5 frogs in his case, right? But it's the 5 most important things you got to get done the next day. Write it down, 3 to 5 or whatever it is.
And if you get them done early, go home.
Go home, yeah.
You got it done.
You got it. You won the day.
And
you won
if it takes you till midnight, stay up.
Damn right.
Get it done. Like it's got to get done. So
there's a Spartan line out there that says, if you're tired, do it tired. Yep. And so, but yeah, do that. That's number 1. And then typically would run people through what's called a time study. You ever done one?
Yeah, just logging every minute of every day for a week or a day
Yeah.
or two just to see what your schedule's like.
That's right. Yeah. It kind of like that. Yeah. And, but what's the point though? Why would we do something like that, do you think?
To see where the holes are in the boat so you can plug them, basically, or what's sucking the most time or energy out of your day that you could offload to someone else or get it out of your life.
Okay. So if you're not doing a time study and you're working it every day, what are you doing instead in regards to monitoring time?
Probably just not doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Showing up at the beginning of the day and leaving and whatever the hell happened.
Legit. Yeah. Like you're at the not doing it part, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're essentially doing is helping people become aware. It's one of those rocks, right? If you're not doing a time study, you can't manage what you don't measure. Okay. So if you plan on managing time, you need to learn to measure it. Today, I measure every second of every day, all the time. It's a habit now. I've created, I don't have to work at it. It's just a habit, right? It's the same as blinking now. But that gets me anytime that I'm managing it. I know, like, man, when I go in and I see that I put in, I don't know, every day I look at it, 10 to 11 hours of work, I'm like, fuck yeah, get it. And that includes personal work. Every morning I'd put in 3 to 3.5 hours of personal development every morning. I work hard on me and I'm still not working harder. I'm not working as hard on me as I should be. Like I let my nights go, man. And I need to crush my nights and I'm not crushing them. And so that time study is just another rock. And so if we get that done, then it all kind of leads to a default calendar that most people don't use. And if you're unfamiliar with the default calendar, it just means what used to be called time blocking. Understanding, should I be working on lead generation during this time? Or should I be working on sales? Should I be working on producing, video editing, maybe in your case? Who knows?
Sure.
Podcast, whatever.
Sure. Yeah, and it's interesting. I know Hormozy talks a lot about, I tend not to take a whole bunch of stuff from him because he's literally just like made himself an influencer in 2 years. But he was talking about recently how like, until you get to a certain dollar amount in revenue, like half of your time should be spent on like lead gen sales. The other half is on producing or building the product, whatever the service or the product is.
I agree with that.
Half the time is do the thing. The other half is get more people to buy the thing. Yep. And then you get to a certain dollar amount and then you flip it where, like you mentioned, start building systems and stuff. So there's interesting tidbits that are out there for that. And so,
yeah. And you know, one of the places I go to is, yes, at the beginning, you got to be hot on sales, especially at the beginning. You have to build the revenue up. However, we say 9 to 5 work in your business, 5 to 9 work on your business, right? Don't do on the business stuff during work hours. You should be selling or producing, selling, producing, selling, producing. That's it. Pick those 8 hours and just stuff them, right? 5 to 9, if you're tired, do it tired, right? The other part that they don't really talk about is from 5 to 9 in the morning, work on yourself, right? And so if you do all those things every single day, don't think there's not going to be room for fun, because there is, especially because I schedule fun into my life, right? I schedule freedom into my life. And I think I have more freedom than most people because I schedule it, right? I'm more in control of how I manage time than most people. And that's super important to me. And it's helping me to, but I don't do this perfectly, man. I fuck up all the time, right? It's not, I'm human and I'm allowed to. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm still grateful for the challenge.
Sure. No, I love it. Let's see here. One of the last pieces here, just to kind of tie it all together, we've talked about some of the hardships, the lessons learned, all the things that's gone on. If somebody's a business owner, small business owner listening, or somebody that has a vision for what they want to build in the future, what advice would you have for them to take control of their future and build the life that they want to, and kind of systematically, predictably build the life that they're looking to do?
I think there was a statistic out there that said something like 10% of the world's population are business owners. So you're already crushing it. And 5% of those, or even less, maybe it's like 3%, have employees. So you're already crushing it. So if you've got an employee, you are killing it. Okay. So 1, don't stop fighting. Set up a reminder system to get you out of the grind. Typically, we might use a vacation, right? So it's like, I'm going to take a vacation. That's going to get me out of the grind. But that's not a thing that's going to step you forward. If anything, all that's going to do is recover energy so that you can get back in the grind. You need to set aside time to go forward with your business, to plan it out, to build out where you're going. If you do not do that, if you just keep grinding all the time, you're going to be 30 years down the line with your business, and you're going to be the next McDonald's greeter or Walmart greeter. Just, it is the way it is. And so set aside that time. We recommend 5 hours every week working on your business. 5 hours. Now, if you're at 5 to 9, so if you're 9 to 5 working in your business, from 9 to 5 working in your business, from 5 to 9, take 1 hour a day to work on your business on something, or take 3 hours one day, 2 hours another day. You can figure out math, right?
Sure.
And then you got it, right? When we're coaching people, the hour that they meet with us per week counts toward that 5 hours. Because anytime somebody's talking with me on one of our calls, you're building your business, because we're not talking about the grind. Fires come up that we might need to discuss, but it's all going to be learning. You're going to learn something. You're going to apply that lesson to the next one.
Sure.
So.
No, I love that. Where can people learn more about you and connect with you? Maybe if they're looking for coaching, or they're looking to hire you to be the next, the biggest inspirational speaker in the world, and help you hit that goal, and get it off your goal sheet and get it in the reality. Where can people connect?
I got to go right now that I got to finish my inspirational speech. I'm writing it. I've been writing it all year. I write 10 minutes every morning. And then I want to speak 6 times before the year's over. And I know we're in Q4 coming up here. But I also am a go-getter. So www.actioncoachvanguard.com probably be the easiest way to connect with us. You can email me directly at Gabriel@actioncoachacv.com. That's Alpha Charlie Victor for all you phonetic people out there. And I think that would be the easiest way to connect with us. And I'd love to meet with anybody. We have actually, and now that you mention it, we do have a seminar coming up. I believe it's next Friday. It's called the 6 Steps to Your Business Owner Playbook. We run that in Ankeny. It's 2 hours of your time, and you come out and you'll actually get educated on these 6 steps that I just kind of shared with you. People walk out of there, they 10%, 20% better in their business instantly. I mean, it's kind of like what you're doing. It's our free version of education, just to get in front of people so that we can at least meet people. Because I can't build this business if I'm not talking to business owners. This is a way for us to put us and business owners in the same location. We give them something free. If they love it, great. They might check in with us and be like, hey, what's next? Or they might take that information and go rock it, right? Doesn't matter to us.
Sure. No, I love that. If you guys are listening this far, please make sure to go check out their website, connect with Gabriel online. LinkedIn maybe is probably another good spot as well.
Sure. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, blah, blah, blah.
Sure. No, I love it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and your time and being vulnerable and sharing your story today. I'm sure it's affected quite a few people out there that are listening. So
I hope so. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys have made it this far, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give us a subscribe on YouTube. We're going for 1,000 subscribers this year, so we can finally monetize the channel. That'll be a nice milestone. We got to keep speaking that into existence. So
that's right.
Make sure to check us out on social media for clips from all of our last 91 episodes that we've had on the podcast. And make sure to check us out next Monday for the next episode, talking all things business here in the great state of Iowa. My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of the Rhymes with Odd podcast. We really do appreciate your support. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes, that makes a world of difference, guys. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and check us out on social media. Also, if you'd like to inquire more about our services here at Snod Media Group, or learn about doing your own podcast for your own business, you can find us at snodmedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.